Hey, leaders. Hope you guys have had a great weekend here. It's been a while since we talked. Hope you're doing well. I just want to share with you guys an experience that I had this weekend here with a couple who is looking to start a new grow group here in the fall. We had a conversation about this and about all the nuts and bolts about groups. And at the end of the conversation, when I asked them, what else do you need from me, or what are your next steps in terms of how do we help make this happen? Their response was really simple. They said, no, I think we're good. They said, we're going to go home, we're going to pray about this, and we're going to start tomorrow. First thing when we go to church, we're going to look around and we're going to see who is in need of community, and we're going to start seeing, who God's going to put in this group starting out here in the fall. And, I was thinking about the conversation afterwards. It was a really simple conversation. There wasn't much else said after that. But I was thinking about it afterwards on the ride home. While it's simplistic, there's also, I think, a lot of power in that. It's really been resonating in my head here ever since, in terms of what's the position or the mindset, the heart stance that we are taking as we go into this next season, to the summer, with regards to our groups. And three things really stood out to me. First one was about prayer, right? These individuals were praying for God's direction in the group and who God was going to bring into that community. And I was reminded about how little I pray about that for my own group, right? How I can do a better job of praying and going to God, bringing it to God and saying, God, what do you want to do with this group? Because he's got people out there that he's working on, right? To get into community that are feeling his call. And so can I be praying for the same thing on the other end? Not about what I want for the group, but God, what is your plan for this? Second thing was the power of connection, right? When we're at work, at the ball field, at church, do we have our heads on a swivel, and are we looking up for new people, right? The couple that I was talking to indicated that's what they were going to do, that they were going to church with a purpose to see who was there that was not in community, who was new, that they could invite in. And again, I was reminded of how infrequently I do that in the spaces that I go to on a daily basis. And so can I be more intentional about where I go and looking for new people? Not just to bring into the group, but just new folks to connect with, to say hi to hear a little bit of their story, to make them feel welcome. That's something that I definitely can do a better job at. The third piece of this is the idea of the invite. Now, we're always going to have group launch in the spring and the fall. We're always going to have groups that are open online for folks to join at any point. But that's not the only way that we can fill groups or get people in community. And I would even argue it's not the best way. The most powerful way to do that is through invite. We've all joined things on our own accord, I'm sure, and we've also all been invited to be a part of something. And I'm sure we'd all agree the invite is more powerful. It feels different. And so as I meet people, as I connect with people, as I'm praying for people to get into community, can I take that final step and invite them to be a part of that? And we're leaving the spring here and entering the summer. And for many groups like my own, that means a change of rhythm. You probably don't meet as often. Maybe it's more geared towards cookouts and sharing a meal or activities with the families. And that's all great. We do the same thing with our group. And so what I've been convicted about is, how do I also use this season that's coming up and do these three things? How can I be in tune with God's plan for our group and kind of who he wants to bring into community while I'm doing all those things? Summer's a great opportunity, right? We can have cookouts, we go for walks, we see neighbors, new neighbors that have moved in the winter time that we haven't had a chance to connect with because of the weather. Can we be praying about that? Can we find time, make time to connect with people in those spaces? And then can we invite them for a meal? We don't have to invite them into the group right off the bat, but can we invite them in to experience even a small piece of what it means and experience what it means to be in a community, right? To share a meal with other people who are following Jesus Christ. So I've been encouraged by this and really convicted in terms of how our group, how my wife and I are going to go through the summer here in that sense. And I would encourage you guys to think about the same, right? As we and go into the next, do we have an eye on the fall and when things start back up again? And how can we make the best use of this time to be in connection with God in prayer, and at the same time being the hands and feet of Jesus and connecting with people, inviting them into community to be on this journey with us to be disciples that make disciples. So I hope this is encouraging and something for you guys to think about too. It's definitely been something for me to think about as we go into our next season. So I hope you guys have a great week. If you guys need anything, please reach out. As always, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your commitment to your groups and to this ministry. And I hope to see you all in June at our final meeting and share a meal and just kind of celebrate just the awesome work that God has done this year here at Crossway Church and in your groups. So take care. Have a great week.